they're all so different. So that was kind of fun for us because we didn't really have like a direction. We were just like, let's just write some cool songs. First one's got a little leans on the first Van Halen album, but with some kind of dark Ian Hunter, not dark, but interesting Ian Hunter type lyrics. And Penetrate is a really cool song because it's kind of heavy, but lyrically it is like talking about like clawing your way back into somebody, trying to get this. It's thick and like intense. I really enjoy that. Lyrics are strong. And then First 21, which is the song based on the book. So it's fun to tie this stuff together. My brain has a hard time just like, hey, let's just do a book, or let's just do a album, or let's just do a tour. Now where my brain is at, it's more interesting to tie in multiple things with it. Not too long ago, the book was basically done. I called up James and DJ and I said, hey guys, remember we did the soundtrack to the Heroin Diaries? We had a lot of success with that and really launched us to a lot of people, especially with the song Life is Beautiful. I go, what do you think about doing a song for the Hits album inspired, by the idea of the First 21? And it ended up like in a few hour conversation, because everyone's like talking about when they discovered their favorite band. DJ's from a small town, and James comes from this like kind of a musical background, but like talking about the music he discovered. But literally the song wrote itself in a very short amount of time, and the lyrics were pretty easy because we wanted to capture that youthful being young. Even the chorus or perceived chorus says, when we were young, and keeps talking about that kind of stuff. And I don't know if you've seen the video for it, but worked with a great director and Lucy Dyson, who works with Paul McCartney. And we found 50-year-old cartridges at my aunt's house, 8mm film. And so we got all this old film of when I was like a little kid and where I was raised, and which is where I was raised is only a couple hours from where I moved now. We sold our house in LA and moved to Wyoming. So I'm kind of like the circle's closed a little bit. Time is the biggest enemy. I like to write books. I like to write songs. I like having different projects, whether it's LA Rats, Brides of Destruction, 58, 6 a.m. So now we're at this point where we have a hits record, and we have this thing in front of us called Mötley Crüe that's a priority always starting next year, and we're hoping for 23 too in the rest of the world. Where does 6 a.m. fit into that as far as touring? Probably not. So right now, I think this is a nice button, and then we'll just see where it goes in the future. I love writing with James and DJ. I get to do something different in 6 a.m. than I do in Mötley Crüe, which is really exciting. Yet at the same time, I find a lot of Mötley Crüe fans do like 6 a.m. and 6 a.m. fans like, Mötley. So in a weird way, it's kind of like a new band. Like I'm in the new band category, but I'm in the classic rock category. So I don't know where it goes. I do know that I have a couple projects that I've got in the works. I signed a deal with a really big director. I was forming an animation company to create animation programming for kids that involves original music. I've already talked to a bunch of cats in the industry, and I've said, hey, this is what I'm doing. And they're like, just call me if you need a song. Like all these people were like, this is so different than what I do. So if you need a song called Bubblegum, I'm going to call my friend A and my friend B and me, and let's zoom in and let's write the song, and bam, it slides in to the show. And then I'm working on a children's book with my wife for parents to read to kids about diversity, and mostly around the last administration. It really bothered me how everybody's so divided. So I figure, reading to children is not is a way to teach them about culture, food, language, differences. and how that isn't a real issue. It's a positive. So it's that, and then a bunch of new music percolating around, a tour. Time's the enemy. Time is the damn enemy. Yeah, and I have a 2-year-old, you know, which is like keeping me young for sure. Because of COVID, we can only look so far in the future. So I'm been being asked a lot. So what's your next book? And I asked someone on my team, like, why do I keep getting that question? And they go, well, now you have 3 New York Times bestseller books all by yourself, 4 if you include The Dirt. And now you're in a different world. You're in an author world, as well as having side bands and your animation company and other stuff we're working on. So I think the next 20 years, bro, are going to be really exciting. I'm super excited about creativity, but what that form is, I don't know if it'll be traditional. And I like the idea of putting myself in positions of uncertainty, possible failure, taking chances. Because if you don't take chances, you're going to never know. And if you start something and you quit, you'll never know. I have this stupid Nikkiism. It's like, you know, you get what you get when you quit. And I've told people that before that have quit. And then like later they're like, oh yeah, I really blew it. You're always going to blow it if you quit. You got to keep going. And there's a lot of that story in the book. I hope that it inspires people to, you know, focus on what they want in their life and to go for it. I mean, we start rehearsals in May. I start training in December. And that's like it. Now it's like down to hard work, getting ready, getting the band in rehearsal. We rehearse really hard because we will take a song like Dr. Feelgood, and while we're building the show, let's just say the show is all the lights are moving, they're green and they're slowly moving, and we'll build a whole intro in and design the lights and lasers around that, and then comes the downbeat of the dum dum da da, and how. So it's a long process and tedious, and so we go to rehearsal and we like might need to build in those 32 bars, and then we got to work with the lighting and the laser company, and then we got to make sure we have our everything is organized, so we get our count-ins for the where we need to be on stage. So there's so much going on, but what I love is when people come to the show, they're just playing Kickstart My Heart, and I'm having a good time. And they're like, that lighting show is crazy, or the whatever they do. And we like to make it so that you, as the fan, can come to the show and just dig the show and not think about it. But I wanted to show that in the first chapter, like really what it's about.